the DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 200% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. And make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Thursday, August 10th, 2023. Our weekly trip to LA with the true OG of gambling Twitter. Myself and Pops have gone way, way back. We were one of the originators back when Twitter was fun, when it was fun to put out your thoughts, your games. You didn't get criticized. There really weren't a lot of trolls back then. And the lanes, in my eyes, are cesspools now. Everyone's an expert. They don't have to put the time in. Go 6-1 over the weekend. Now I'm an expert, and therefore come take my plays. Don't have to put the work in. And in our lanes, what transpired on Monday, ESPN, Barstools, and Penn National, it's comical. But we're here today to talk some LA sports with Pops. The summer's winding down. I know he's a big, big horse fan. So I want him to get out here, talk how he's been doing in the horses, maybe give out a few horses that he's got. We'll talk about some 2 exhibition games today. Obviously want to talk about his Dodgers and get situated for the fall. Me and Pops have been doing a lot of work together, NFL Bet Exchange and some other things. We do my favorite was our Friday nights with the Manhattans and Ionas back when no one else would cover them, but we would cover them, So without further ado, let's bring them in. Let me also quick shout out to our new sponsor, VIPclub.lv. Always use ECSI at the checkout window. Tell them JD sent you. They'll take good care of you there. So without further ado, let's bring him in. The one, the only, Mr. Pop DiBiase.
What's up? What's going on? Midday report, midday money reports and all that good stuff, man. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Jeff. How's everything going today?
It's going. It's been a crazy summer, as you know. Shout out and good afternoon to Connor. Connor, hope all is well. The summer to forget. We had an epic December all the way through May, and then we've had a lot of hiccups in baseball of late, so I've kind of pumped the brakes. I haven't given anything out yet this week. Might dabble today. We'll see. NFL on the board is always starting today. The exhibition right behind me in Gillette, where the Houston Texans come on in to face the Patriots. It sounds like the Rook's going to play. It sounds like they got their quarterback situated, that they're going to have some good quarterback play throughout this game, or potential good, where the Patriots will be playing a lot of Malik Cunningham. I don't even know if Bailey Zappi's playing. A line that opened at 2, currently at 3.5 with a 37. But as I started the show talking about you, horses, summertime, Saratoga, and all the other big New York racetracks, et cetera, et cetera. How you been? How you been hitting them?
Well, in New York we do Saratoga, and Cali we do Del Mar, and I was always more of a SoCal guy for a long time, like just really cow breds and all that good stuff. The whole California circuit and everything like that felt like I knew it like the back of my damn hand and things of that nature. But the money's in New York. If you like to really chase the money in horse racing, you got to go to the New York tracks, and the New York tracks ain't gonna be Laurel and all that stuff. It's gonna be the big three: Aqueduct, Belmont, Saratoga. You know what I mean? And rinse and repeat, do it again. But all in all, though, Saratoga's been good. Yesterday we won the which stakes race was that yesterday? The Johnstown Mile with Venti Valentine at 5-1. That was a pretty good way for that horse to finish and everything like that. Last week, unfortunately, we had the winner in the Maple Leaf Male race. That horse was pretty much won, but fell over at the finish line. So literally, they had to do the right thing and give it to the horse that actually crossed the finishing line. And unfortunately, it was the horse that I had at 9-5. So we have that one, but we've hit about 7 stakes races out of like the 20 that they've had. We had a nice little run when the meet first started. We hit 4 stakes in a row, all that good stuff. So, a lot of things have been good to us at that racetrack. First day had a 2-year-old cash out a 21-1 ticket. You know what I mean? Yesterday over at PID, we had a horse actually win at 29-1. It wasn't a key horse; it was a top horse. But I had it exacted up, so we got a $63 exacta with a 29-1 and a 1-2 yesterday. So that was pretty good. And it wound up that horse was able to get us some more things to get excited about, but we fell a little short. Funny story. The horse went off at 29-1, so it kind of messes up the whole predigium of the exotic, the pick 4, the pick 5. Now you got some real money in here because you're not dealing with all the favorites. And then what happens is that we had a wide open final race, and the favorite winds up winning the final race. And usually you'll have the favorite, you in that race. I didn't have the favorite. I had a horse that I felt like would be able to single the horse that I felt like would be able to be our jackpot horse. Sometimes you got to look at it in that sense to where, yeah, you can win an easy ticket, but what's the fun in taking home $12? You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to say, let's risk it a little bit. Throwing a horse we know that's going to cash us out probably at minimum $600-700 at the end of the night because it ain't going to be the favorite, but it should be the favorite. That's how I always like to put it. So we wind up the favorite wins, and guess what? They paid $1,100 on the pick 5 yesterday, and then they paid $400 on the pick 4 yesterday. And usually you do not get that with a favorite winning at the end of the night. So that show you that, we run to these big tracks like Saratoga, Del Mar, Santa Anita, all these ones that are known for having the big money there, but the money is usually at the smaller tracks if you know how to play the sport right, because they're all playing on an even playing ground. Nobody is all these horses are old. It's not like they're going in there and they're this beautiful 2-year-old that they spent $1 million on. No, it's a 9-year-old that literally is fighting for its life on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the horse don't know where it's going after the race. You know what I mean? It could be going back to a barn. It could be going. It could be going to the death pen. It doesn't know where it's going. But it knows one thing, though. They're professional. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. They don't ever act up at the gate. If they do, they'll remove them. They don't run off from the pony. They don't do any of that shit. So, I'm just giving people a different option if they, love watching horse racing but don't want to deal with the politics of horse racing. When you do Saratoga, places like that, you have to understand when something bad happens at those racetracks, then all of a sudden they want to stop horse racing. And that's where people like me kind of get like, well, it's funny you guys are showing up for this now, but I've dealt with this for a long time. And you know what? At the end of the day, we've became numb to it. So you having a big outrage about it and you going crazy about it doesn't really make a difference, because at the end of the day, they're gonna race. Okay, they gonna go out there and go make that money. It's that simple. And when you keep trying to put animals in a human element phase and all that stuff, that's where you kind of get messed up at. You know what I mean? You have to look at it for what it truly is. And just like an athlete breaking down in the NFL, NBA, MLB, what do they do to you? They don't kill you, but they get rid of you. You're not around anymore. They're not going to work on doing the rehab. You're cut. So now you got to go do something else. With a race or with a horse with a broken leg that ain't never going to be fixed, that horse is going to walk around in nothing but misery. You're actually doing him a favor if you understand how it truly works, but you don't. So what you really need to do is you need to go educate yourself on why these things happen. Nobody wants to kill their horse. Nobody wants to euthanize a horse on the track. Nobody wants to do any of that. They care more for these horses than they do their own family members. I don't care what nobody says. I know owners. I know trainers. I know how they operate. And it's so funny looking at Twitter. You always know, Jeff, it's always the same MFer who ain't betting, who ain't put one red cent on no race, but got the most to say. Got the most to say. And it's like, you don't even understand what you even talking about, because you listen to people that always have their hand out. PETA, yeah, I said it. And I told them straight up to their face at Santa Anita in front of CHRB, if the horse don't want to run, it ain't going to run. So it don't even matter what you're talking about. Seriously, this is a 1,200-pound animal right here. If he move a certain way and if he break out and break loose, we all might get trampled by him. He's the most powerful person here. So if he says I ain't doing it, we not doing it. And you can't say that they're forcing them to do it. It's a 1,200-pound animal. The only way they can force them to do it is if they are that abusive, and we're not in the we're not in the 1900s, the early 1900s anymore. We just not. And there's a very cautious approach that they take with all of them. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But when it comes down to racing today, I have a very good horse here. I'm looking at my phone now for you. Been waiting for this last race to go off for like the last 3 years already, but the horse that just ran in the last race, Montauk Mystique, it looks like the horse didn't win it. It looks like the 7 Phineas Harbor got home, but that was one of our top horses as well too. From what I'm seeing here, my favorite horse today is not even at Saratoga. It's actually going to be at Presque Isle Downs. It's going to be in race 7. It's going to be a horse by the name of La Panda, number 7, and that's going to be in the 6th race today. That race should be about 2:15 my time, about 5:15 your time, Jeff. So you got plenty of time, people coming off of work and everything like that. There goes your horse right there. So I do like La Panda today a lot at Presque Isle Downs, but I know the main event is over at Saratoga, and I have a horse that's a first-timer today, and she's actually Melanie Giddens' horse as well too. Melanie Giddens is the trainer that was Maple Leaf Mel's trainer, and I know how horse racing works. Usually when we have a tragic situation that happened last Saturday the next horse that trainer usually puts out winds up being a winner. So I'm going to take a first-timer today in the what race is it? The 6th race is a horse by the name of Always Dialed. It's a dialed in baby. Dialed in is a really good horse for young, is a really good breeding horse. He wasn't a big winner, but he's a really good breeding horse. You know who his trainer was? Your buddy Nick Zito was his trainer. And, one of Nick's final, good horses, because now Nick Zito is just he's over there like a one of those NFL coaches that literally you're on your 17th team, and it's just like you're just here because of what you did 40 years ago. You know what I mean? That's what type of situation this became with Zito, but it happens though. But yeah, that's how I see it. But those are my two favorites today. And I think the best sequence of the day is going to be in race 9. I have a horse named Kingfish Stevens in that race. Shows a lot of value today. But you can go pair that horse. There's going to be the 11, 13, 7, and 4. You guys can go ahead and exact the trifecta, supervecta, and that bet. Yeah, or Quinella, whatever you guys do. Key it, box it, whatever you want to do with that. And I always say, if you want to do if you feel like you really know that horse is going to win the race, and it's your key horse, like I usually do it, that's why I say key. Because when I say key, it means you can key this bet. When you key a bet, it's like this. That key horse is your top horse, but everybody else, it doesn't matter where they finish at. If you say it's a trifecta, if it's a superfecta, that's your key horse with those 3 other horses. So that's something that you look at in a sense to, if you want to save some money but make it bang for your buck, that's how you do it. But if you want to say, you know what, I want to trust all the horses, you box them up, and I usually do them 4 at a time, Jeff. So if it's a exacta box, it'll be $12. If it's a trifecta box, depending on if it's 50 cents, it's $12. If it's $1, it's $24. And my favorite superfecta, that's my favorite exotic, is a superfecta, playing the 4 becoming, because that's usually the hitter. But there's been times where you'll sit up there and get yourself a superfecta and feel like you made some money and come back with $22, and that's $2 less than the box. So, you know, those are the things you have to factor in as well too. And it's always about who's taking on the money. That's why we always want to beat the favorite, but we just don't want to beat the favorite. We want to ensure that the favorite's not even in the money, because when they're not in the money, that's when it really opens up. So, you know, horse racing has so many different elements onto making money. And literally, horse racing is the dictionary and the lifeblood of all sports betting. It don't matter what sport it is. Pretty much all the ideas came from horse racing. All of them. Every single one of them. And when you guys got your exactas, trifectas, superfectas, it's the same damn thing as a parlay. Same thing. And you just have to match it up the right way. And it's a great mathematical game as well too. So there's a lot of things that go in to the sport of kings, Jeff. You know what I mean?
No, we were talking backstage, and I was reminiscing about curling and the Breeders' Cup, and they just had a horse go for $4 million. And I think it was kind of funny. Someone sent out a tweet, yeah, he's going to race 3 times, and then that's it, put him off the stud. So that was kind of comical there. You know, we were expecting a lot of crazy things in baseball. You know, I think it was before the Houston series, Baltimore was like 2 games behind Atlanta for the best record in the major leagues. Your Dodgers are just doing Dodger things. They got me good over the weekend. I had the Padres game 1, I think it was. And then, you know, I didn't play it first 5 when the Padres are up 3-1, and then you score 5 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th there. And then you got us again. So, you know, it doesn't matter which way I play these guys, but they're doing Dodger things, as you like to say. They're really rounding in the form. Kike Hernandez comes over back home, as he liked to say, all of a sudden rejuvenated. You grab some pitchers that couldn't break a pane of glass. Now they're rejuvenated. So why don't you give us the Dodger report?
Well, the Dodgers, you know what time it is, Jeff. And you know, when you're a team that's been here, done that, all that good stuff, then that means that you know exactly how to go about, you know, winning a division and really taking care of your business when it's time to take care of your business. And this is what I try to explain to people. You had a team in Arizona that was able to get off early and have their little moment of grace, because they're a team that didn't have expectations like that. So they're a little bit ahead of schedule. But I told you guys that they were a team that you did have to take seriously because they're a group that's been on the brink of being a good team because they have a good farm system. And so pretty much they got off to a great start. And they got a big confidence boost when the Dodgers came to Phoenix early in the season, literally the first week of the season, the first 2 weeks of the season, and dropped 3 out of 4. That made the series go to a point to where it was like this. Oh, we played 8 games already this year, and now the Diamondbacks are up, have won 5 out of 8 of them. And that was pretty good to see. Then the Diamondbacks just kept taking care of their business. They got great pitching from Merrill Kelly. They got great pitching from, I'm trying to think of the other pitcher, Gallen as well, too. So they had great pitching from him. Then they had a really good bullpen as well too. That did some great things. But as I keep saying, they had a lot of really good young players on this team, and so they were able to contribute early and do very well. But with young players all the time, the Dodgers are going through it right now. James Outman, first month of the year, everybody was ready to give Outman the Rookie of the Year, and then the reality came in that the guy is still a young player. He's still a rookie, and he's going to strike out a lot. You know who leads the Dodgers in strikeouts? James Outman. So that was pretty much, the writing's on the wall. You have to be patient with these guys because they're going to have great starts and great moments to, stay up here. You got to do just that to stay up here. And then they're going to go through the motions of the season. And that's exactly what happened to all these teams that had these great young players that came out and were just killing it this year. And I know that a lot of teams right now in the MLB have really good young rosters and young players. And that's why the Mets were smart enough to go, hey, we got 2 Hall of Famers here, but we're never going to win a World Series with these 2. Come on, let's keep it real. We got them at the twilight of their careers. That's like going and getting Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine after the Atlanta years and thinking that you're going to get something out of it. All you did was just overpay 2 guys. All they did was rob you guys. That's it. And the Mets are dumb enough to do that because the Mets aren't signing talent. They're signing a name. It's different. You know what I mean? So they were able to cash them out and get themselves some of the top prospects in all of baseball because they're starting to see the trend. The Houston Astros and the Dodgers have shown you if you build the farm, the wins will come. The Dodgers have been building the farm forever, but the Astros showed you that if you moneyball this situation like the A's did, you're gonna come out well in the end. You know what I mean? Dodgers lose Corey Seager, no big deal. The Washington Nationals lose Bryce Harper. Yeah, they won a World Series the year after, but look at them now. Last place. They've been last place since. And the only reason why they won the World Series the next season because they still had really good players on the roster. Now, I'm just using that as an example that when you leave a team and you're one of their best player, what's the outcome going to be? Look at the A's. The A's are awful without a guy that was an all-star. So the Dodgers get it now. You don't have to overspend for guys. If you feel like you don't need Bellinger gone, these guys because they're injury prone, and that's why they're gone because they weren't worth that price. And the Dodgers have played that game very well. You know what I mean? So right now, the Dodgers did everything right, in my opinion. You went and got Ryan Yarbrough. You freed him from Kansas City. That's a good pitcher right there. He was really good in Tampa Bay. He got hurt. He was actually seen as Tampa Bay's top prospect pitcher for a very long time. And then he got hurt. And the Royals had a good package to go get him because the Royals, kind of had an idea they could kind of challenge for some things. But they did bring him in so they could acquire more assets. I'm thinking that bringing in Yarbrough was actually a come up over bringing in a guy like Edwin Rodriguez, who was going to have a lot of pressure on him because of what he's supposed to be doing, what he's capable of doing, what he gets paid to do. And he was with you, Jeff, and you're the one that told me that he was the big prospect. They thought he was going to be Pedro Jr. and all this other stuff. They put all these expectations on him, and he never played up to those expectations. They did win a World Series with them there, but he never played up to the expectations. And people said, "What? Why wouldn't he go to LA?" When a guy doesn't play up to the expectations in one big market, and then he gets a deal with the team that's a middling team that doesn't have expectations, that says, you know what, we're building something here, we're trying to get something here, and we see you as a core piece of it, then usually you want to stay where they want you to be a core piece of it. With the Dodgers, all he was going to be was a asset, a moving part, and he knows that. And that's why he decided to stay in Detroit, because he didn't want to be used like a piece of meat. He wanted to be catered to in Detroit. It's that simple. He wasn't going to get the same treatment in LA that he gets in Detroit. The pressure's on, and he just can't handle the pressure. And y'all saw that in Boston. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, and it was like when we sent David Price over to you. Price couldn't handle the Tampa market. Well, he could handle the Tampa market, but when he got on the big stage, he struggles. He had a lot of issues, as we'd like to say. Then we ship him over to you, and then we did win a World Series with David Price coming in and out of the bullpen spot starts. The Rodriguez situation too is he goes to free agency, goes to the Tigers, a lot smaller market, no pressure, has a problem with a divorce, I think it was a potential divorce, and takes basically half the season off. And what I heard off the street was the fact of the matter is that he's up for free agency, didn't want to go to LA, big stage, playoffs, potential, NLCS, NLDS, potential World Series, fall flat on his face and potentially kill the next contract. So you are definitely spot on there as well.
Yeah, man, because he knows that Detroit will wind up. Well, he can rob Detroit. He can rob a team like Detroit. That's why he don't want to. That's why he doesn't want to leave. You can rob Detroit. You can probably rob the White Sox. You can probably rob who else? Who else is we all know the Rangers will give up some money. We all know that those goofballs will. We just like, who owns the mattress Mac or somebody? Because literally they just spend money on anything. Like I don't know. This team gave up so much at the trade deadline. It was damn near silly. You know what I mean? Like, you're not giving up that much for Jordan Montgomery, dog. The year's fourth team in 5 years. Come on. Is he really that good of a pitcher? Or is he just a good enough pitcher to move around all the time?
He's a lefty. That's the thing. He's a lefty, and the other thing is he had a 15-game stretch where he was 1-14, meaning on those 15 starts, the Cardinals won 1 and they lost 14 of them. So it's kind of comical there. Looking at the NL, I mean, Dodgers, Atlanta, Phillies playing good ball, and the fact that Phillies were there last year, they got hot. They're going to be dangerous. Still waiting. Again, I thought the biggest series of the weekend was the Padres. They fall flat on their face. But they're only like 4.5 out of the wild card. And that's the one team that if they get in, obviously, you don't want to see. I was talking on Monday to Dave Sharapan when we were doing the show. Not a lot of people remember this. Phillies played the Cardinals in the play-in game last year, and it was the top of the ninth, and the Cardinals had a 1-run lead. And the leadoff batter, there was a botched play at first base that allowed him to get on, and then they scored 4 runs there. And then, of course, we know the rest, they get to the World Series. So, again, like in any sport, just get to the dance, and anything can happen. But you guys, I guess if we had the crystal ball, the assumption is, roll the ball out, Phillies, Braves, first one that wins 4 games meets whoever in the American League.
Man, Jeff, I'm going to tell you right now, the Phillies are, the Phillies are a good little team and everything like that, but I think that it's not the same group from last year. And I really, truly feel that this group is going to wind up falling short, to be honest with you. I don't even think they made the playoffs, to be totally real. You know what I mean? I think that the Cubs are coming.
Well, I said that about the Cubs. Listen, Kerry Wood, Rick Sutcliffe, Mark Pryor aren't walking through that door. So they're a great story. And they this year's Phillies, Bellinger having a decent year over there, yada, yada, yada. But they don't have the horses that Atlanta has, that the Dodgers have. And they don't have the horses that the Padres have.
I'm just talking about making the playoffs, because I truly do feel that it's really the NLCS is a collision course, in my opinion. Dodgers Braves is going to happen. It's like it's inevitable, because the Dodgers even set themselves up to say, you know what, we're going to dial it back. We're not going to be the best team in the National League this year. We just going to go about our business, and when it's time to pounce and be good and be great, we're going to be good and we're going to be great. And that's going to be about this time of the year. We don't need to sit up in here and win 13 to start the season off like the Rays did, and sit up there and go 20-7, and now you're looking at 30-52 Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I know, and sorry, I know that's Sheripan's team, but don't think I'm trying to diss them, like, because it's Sheripan's team. But Dave even knows that y'all didn't have no chance this year. Y'all had a good month, and that's it. Yeah, the Reds are ahead of schedule. The Pirates for that month were ahead of schedule. The Orioles are kind of on the Orioles. We can say they're ahead of schedule, but it don't matter. If you right in the mix of things, you got to go out there and go get it now. You know what I mean? It's not about, we can dial it back and, just take our sweet time. No, Baltimore's put themselves in the position to say, hey, we're the best team in the American League. But the greatest example of them knowing that they're not there yet was what the Astros just did to them the last two games. You're up 3 runs in late, grand slam. Your closer, he's not a clutch guy. Then yesterday, they absolutely tore him apart, Jeff, 8-2. And so pretty much the realization comes into play that you guys are good, but you're not there yet. The Dodgers did the same thing to them when they came to Baltimore. Beat up on you a little bit and show you that we've been doing this. Who is you? Who are you? Yeah, that's good. That's cute that you're beating up on the little nothings. But what happens when you deal with us? But Baltimore is the best story in baseball because they're winning in the best division in baseball with the team of the major leagues, the Yankees, and your Red Sox. Literally, they are ahead of these teams who still have winning records. And that's what's incredible to me at the end of the day.
Well, I can't let you go without talking a little about this, the shitstorm of our lanes. And I got to talk about the Pac-12, now the Pac-4. And I think it's Notre Dame that's shooting for Cal and Stanford to get into the ACC. Thoughts of 4 teams flock into the Big 10, 4 flock into the Big 12. And now you're sitting there with 4 teams. And what's going on with the Pac-12?
Well, I said this a while ago, and when my father was still with us, me and him both spoke about it. It was just a sign of the times, and UCLA leaving, UCLA leaving, and USC leaving. That was the initial pin that dropped to show you that the Pac-12 was in trouble. Me and him both agreed that the conference was on life support because when they see that UCLA, the 10 other teams ain't going to be happy to see UCLA be a part of this monster $1 billion deal, and they're not a part of it. But they had promises made by the conference that they would get it done. UCLA and USC already know how the conference works, and they know that they was FOS. You know what I mean? So pretty much they knew at the end of the day, we got to take this money because they were pretty much forewarned that the Pac-12 was going to get left out. And they said this for a while that one of the Power 5 conferences are going to get left out. And everybody kind of nominated the Big 12 because Texas and Oklahoma were leaving. But then the Big 12 gets a miracle kind of Hail Mary situation with getting the 4 best teams from the AAC, who have proven to be some of the better basketball teams in the nation as well too. And the Big 12 was able to sell the fact that it's not about football with our conference, it's about basketball with our conference. We do cater to football, but we have to remember we are a great basketball conference. And our conference is not going to change when Oklahoma and Texas leave on the basketball side. We're just going to lose 2 teams. So when you brought in Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU, you brought in teams that bring dollars into the conference. BYU in itself is a establishment. We all know this. You know, out of all the schools in Utah, they were the first ones on the map, even over Utah University and all that stuff. So, you know, BYU brings a lot of credibility to the conference. Then UCF is kind of a new kid on the block, but they've grown so fast, and those good years of what they did in the AAC it helped them out because they were a dominant team, top 10 team for 4 years straight. So that helped them out. But then when you bring Houston and Cincinnati, you bring Houston in for the good rivalries around with your Texas schools. And then you bring back the backyard brawl with West Virginia and Cincinnati, who were some of the biggest rivals ever when they were in the Big East and in the Conference USA as well, too. So they were always together. That was the funny part about West Virginia and Cincinnati. They didn't split up until they did this till 10 years ago. So that's great in itself. But the Pac-12 just never stood a chance, man, because the moment UCLA and USC left, it was over because they are the lifeblood of the whole conference. The LA market is where they pretty much do everything at for the Pac-12. And if you don't have those 2 teams there, then that's a problem. And so it took a little bit of time, but everybody just got tired of the Pac-12 coming back to them with bad TV deals and with not the same amount of money that everybody else is getting right now. ACC got their money years ago. SEC got their money years ago. Big 12 got their money years ago, even before Oklahoma and Texas said they were leaving, and the Pac-12 kept getting dimmed and died. It's that simple. You know, at the end of the day, they just kept getting dimmed and died, and they got left out because it's just not sexy enough of a product for the ad dollars and the sponsors and all that stuff. That's pretty much what I see when it comes down to what that situation was. And it's a sad day. I'm not going to act like it's not a sad day that we're losing the elite West Coast Conference. We don't have, it's a regional thing with the conferences, and we know that. And when you lose the West Coast region, now you're saying that college football, college basketball is a national sport now. It's not a regional, local thing anymore. You know, getting to the bowl games, everything like that, that was a bonus. That was like awesome that you could get to a bowl game and play against another team from another conference, all that good stuff. But now it's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the dollars. It's all about, you know, making sure that we get more games out and we make sure that we keep the fans happy. And the biggest problem with these conferences doing what they're doing right now is this need for a playoff. What's the need of it? You already have you literally had Division II be the playoff section. And you said that we're too big to do the playoffs because we got 5 different teams saying that they're the national champion. And at the end of the day, having a playoff makes no damn sense to me, Jeff, because when you have a playoff, what happens is it does not matter every single time. If you're the best team in the nation, number 1 team in the nation most times, you're going to win. And they still haven't. There's been like 1 upset, 2 upsets in the in this new portion of winning a national championship. BCS was messed up because they could manipulate the numbers and make it to where, you know, they could put Florida State versus LSU every year. But They said, no, let's do 4 now. So the other teams won't feel left out. So 3 and 4 won't feel left out. And then what happens, Jeff? 3 and 4 get their ass kicked. And 1 and 2 still wind up playing in the national championship. So at the end of the day, I think the voters know what the hell they're talking about. And the fans are just thinking with their hearts and not with their heads. Come on, dude. You're UCF versus Alabama. It doesn't matter you went 12-0. Who did you go 12-0 against? Think about that part. And who did Alabama go 12-0 against? How many schools are supplying NFL players in your conference? How many are every fucking school in the SEC is going to put an NFL guy out within the first 6 rounds? AAC will be lucky to get 4 guys out by the 6th round. There's big differences in these conferences, and I just don't understand the need for something you already know the answer to. The NFL has a playoff because everybody's on the same skill level. It all comes down to execution. But in college, we're not on the same skill level. Everybody's not on the same skill level. There's the haves and the have-nots. And the have-nots barely get anything. The haves are always going to get what they want. But the have-nots are always going to get what's left over. And that's pretty much where we're at right now, in my opinion. And I think that the Pac-12, it was doomed for a while. When you added in teams like Utah and Colorado and you didn't get Texas and Oklahoma, you pretty much said you didn't care, in my opinion. Because Oklahoma and Texas and Nebraska wanted to come to the Pac-10. They wanted to come because, they felt like, hey, let's get with the West Coast guys, get with the market, and it'll be fun because this is competitive. This is good. But when you didn't take them on, all they did is get mad, angry about it, and pretty much stayed in their conference, got all their great TV deals, all that money that they got. And you know what? Instead of sharing it with the rest of the Big 12, they said, you know what? F you guys, we're going to the SEC for even more money. So there it is. But Pac-12 is just a sad day that this had to happen. And I feel the worst for Washington State and Oregon State because don't nobody want y'all. It's with them it turns into that Will Smith joke. Like, why don't nobody want me?
Oh, jeez.
Why don't want me? So that's where we're at with them right now. So, it is what it is, Jeff. But Pac-12, I'm gonna miss the conference, but you know what? They did this to Big East basketball too, Jeff, and people had to learn that stop being greedy. That's what they had to learn. And Pac-12, it was fun while it lasted, but I think the Pac-12 lost all of its energy and all of its motivation the day that they could not get UCLA and USC to just go with the flow. UCLA and USC just did not want to do that. And you can't blame them at all. You can't blame them for just going about their business the way that they did because they know that they're dealing with 2 universities that are very spotlighted throughout the nation, not just as for college, but just as de facto just places. And I know that they had to be somewhere that fit their personality. You know what I mean? You can't keep being with this group of – you can't keep carrying a conference. You know what I mean? And I think that's the same thing that Oklahoma and Texas said to themselves with the Big 12. We can't keep carrying your conference, dude. Seriously. We have to go somewhere where the TV money's there, everything is there, and we don't have to be your glamour game. Think about that, Jeff. In the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma, those are the biggest games. In the Pac-12, biggest game, UCLA, USC, when you go on the road. You're literally carrying the conference. SEC and ACC, it don't matter. If you're an awesome team, you're an awesome team. We're going to travel, and we're going to have it to where every game is going to be intense. Ohio State, UCLA, USC just put themselves in the mix of pretty much middle America. They're giving themselves to a new audience, and everybody who's so critical about USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, they're scared, Jeff, because they know those California schools can recruit better. It's a better location. And when they get in there, they kick ass. And just look at the numbers. Look at what they've done to the Big Ten over the last decade. And they don't have issues with the Big Ten. That's why they went. That's why both of them went, because they actually have a better time against the Big Ten than they do against the Pac-12. Think about it. They don't play when they're not playing the elite teams in the Big Ten. They kick anybody's ass in that conference. And then even when they play the elite teams, they'll give them some trouble as well too. Michigan, Ohio State's worst nightmare right now is UCLA and USC coming to the Big Ten, because now it's not always about you. Think about that part. So it's going to be fun, Jeff. It's just the future, bro. I know the future is ugly, but it is what it is. They told us 10 years ago that they were doing this, but we didn't want to believe them.
The scroll has been going the whole time, Pops. Everyone here watching and listening, thank you. Obviously, Connor, have a great day. Good to see you back. Go follow Pops at Pop DiBiase on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Prime Wave Media. Tell them what you got for the rest of the weekend, and anything else you might have, Pops.
Well, today I'm debating. I should be doing a show, but, we don't have a lot of baseball going on right now. But we got baseball going on, but it's a travel day. So we got half early, half late. And, I got clients. So I'm trying to make sure I can talk about games, but there ain't no games to really talk about because we only got so many games. So you can catch me so probably about 1 o'clock, I should be doing a quick show. And then 4 o'clock, you can catch me on Voice America with Mike Abadir on the Mike Abadir Show. And we'll be talking literally kind of the same stuff me and Jeff were talking about just now. And we can go from there. But you guys can always catch me on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. And that's available on the YouTube. That's available on Twitter under my Pop DiBiase name. And then it's also available on Facebook under my actual name, Jamil Brown. So you guys go ahead and check out all that good stuff. Make sure you're not missing the angles. Make sure you're not missing talking tickets, because I keep money in your pocket. That's one thing I know I've been doing for the last decade for folks. I might not be the smartest guy, but I know one thing: I will keep your pockets lined up. So, pretty much it is what it is at the end of the day. And it's always a pleasure, Jeff, doing the show with you, dog. And hopefully we'll be back next week on here doing your show. And hopefully we have you tomorrow for the first episode of the year for NFL Bet Exchange, so we can break down some AFC and NFC East.
I will be there 3 o'clock my time, 12 o'clock yours, correct?
Yes. So Friday, we're only doing Fridays until the season starts. Usually we'll be doing it. Me and Jeff got to settle up, but it's probably going to be either Tuesday or Wednesday when we do the NFL Bet Exchange for the actual NFL regular season. But we are going to be doing our preview that we've been doing every year, but we're going to break it down the smart way, and then I'll go on later on and put them all together. And then we could have a 4-hour excursion with that. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. But you guys are the absolute best, and I'm gone. That's all I can say. I'll shut up. I'll be quiet.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, the one, the only, the true OG of gambling Twitter, the one and only Mr. Pop DiBiase. We all thank you. Have a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. NFL on tonight. Again, 7 o'clock, Houston at New England, and then at 10 o'clock, Minnesota at Seattle. Have some fun. See you soon. And as Pops always likes to say, toodles.
Bryce Young.